Hello, hello, hello. Testing. Hello to anyone that's out there. Okay. So I want to start off reading something that was written by someone special, and I'm going to start off reading it. So here we go. Don't adjust your black screen just yet. At this space, time, and moment, you are right where you need to be. Disturbing regularity, scheduled programs of thought process, of low vibrational sequences, of soul food, you may say, petty, pointless. But ready or not, don't underestimate the frequentional, subconscious that controls the healing process you so often neglect. At having a soul prohibits one to clear the mind. After all, don't adjust your black screen just yet. A spiritual warfare can wake up the blind. Now it's short and simple. So, got some pretty random topics on my pages here. So I'm just going to read it off, and you can take whatever you want and leave whatever you don't like. So, how to survive a Karen menopausal set trap. How to avoid and survive a Karen menopausal set trap. Well, you have to make yourself be known to be loved by others, because these menopausal witches take advantage of you perhaps not knowing others. So a good way to survive a Karen menopausal set trap would be you make yourself known to be loved by others. Okay? And the reason why it's important to know these things is because there's a war against organic humans. And the humans that are organic, they get set up by the synthetic people or the synthetic beings. So these synthetic beings will also have these synthetic viruses that the radiation contributes to activating at certain times. So it's good to know how to survive these menopausal set traps because there is a complete imbalance when it comes to the gender roles right now. So there's setups and psyops being done to organic human beings that still have their soul intact. So it's good to find ways to avoid these set traps coming from synthetic beings. And I just have like little random titles for it. So you make yourself be known to be loved by others. On random occasions throughout the week, these menopausal Karens that are outside, you want to try to avoid them because they feast off of your energy. Even when you say hi or good morning back, when they say that to you, you don't need to say that back to them because they're feasting off your energy. So there's no point in saying it back to them. So if they actually go out of their way to ask you where you're going after or something, you always want to say that you have a loved one waiting for you. Even if they're not, you still want to say that you have a loved one waiting for you because these menopausal set traps, they'll take advantage of that too. They'll learn your schedule and eventually they'll figure out that you might not have people waiting for you when you are done with your errands and things like that. So you always want to say you have a loved one waiting for you. That is how you survive these psyops that are happening against women, especially in sanctuary cities where there's a lot of psyops happening to men to get arrested for petty crimes. And that is all for women to be alone with their children. And this leaves so many opportunities for psyops to make the world go around. Remember, it goes around with the pain from people's back, so that's the way it goes. So another way is why would you lie about having loved ones? Well, because it makes you less of a target. Let's see. Another good way to avoid these set traps is, let's say some of these menopausal Karens are trying to like flip it on you. So what you want to do is always um, be on the good side, on the bright side. You always want to say text good morning, say food recipes. And the reason why you want to say good morning and food recipes is because a lot of these times these Karen menopausal set traps, they'll try to make it look like you're the one that is up to no good. So you always want to show that you're doing food recipes and that you were nice because they'll always try to flip it on you. So you send pictures of yourself, always look cute and have a smile because they always hate that. And remember, they feast off of your energy. So if they're going to feast off of energy, might as well it being good energy, not bad energy. So why are these menopausal women setting up young women online? There's different points to these. It's mostly single mothers. Are they menopausal or are they trans? It's a little bit of both. So a lot of times it's menopausal women that just didn't have a good time being women and they're unhappy. And a lot of other times it's trans that are actually very hateful of beautiful women. So they're jealous of them. So they'll set them up and put them down on purpose. So how do these things go about? Well, they'll send decoys, and these decoys will they'll consist of lowlifes and drug addicts. And a lot of times these drug addicts and lowlifes, they'll also be uh, FTMs. So that's just like the scratch of it. But remember, this is the topic of how to survive a Karen menopausal set trap. It's topic, but it has many key points. So, how are these women convinced into doing this to other women? So, there's jealousy that plays into part, money, greed. A lot of times, they're also spoiled brats, so they're used to having these things. So, when they get to that certain menopausal age, it's harder, especially right now, I'm assuming, with the whole beer cooties. So, there's a lot of psyops in play right now for people that are used to having money and they take advantage of poor people. So you must know that it doesn't matter anymore if it's women or men doing it. It's both genders doing it to whoever doesn't know about it. So again, how are these women convinced into doing this to other women? What is the topic again? How to survive a Karen menopausal set trap. So back to the point where it goes to, oh yeah, how do they convince these women is greed, also drugs. A lot of times there's like deep rooted racism and blackmailing. A lot of times there's like deep dirt that they know about each other, so they'll use that as a insurance policy. uh, so this is a lot of times the case too. So how are the FTMs convinced? Well, I think the main way is the hormone steroids. Maybe it could be a reason of that. Like when they take that away, it's like they become very unhappy. Who knows? So these meds are very rare and special. Not any human can get them. So it's pretty special. Also jealousy. A lot of times there's deep rooted jealousy. Like I said, uh, we all know about the girl Lovelace that got bullied by a gay man. So this is happening frequently, and not many people question it. So there's a lot of psyops and bad things happening to women, and a lot of times it's females pretend. I mean, it's males pretending to be females, or females working with those imposters. So here we go. Also, some of these FTMs work with pedophiles. Why? Well, because if the FTM fakes what it is with a real woman that has children, it profits from those children with its pedophile connections. So that's kind of how it is now. So a lot of the times these FTMs, they're very lazy. They're very used to having steroids and hormones. So there's like a lot of videos where they're like at the gym and whatnot. And it puts a lot of real men down because they don't understand that they have like these synthetic hormones. So their energy comes from synthetic medicine, and real humans or people with souls are still organic. So they still need to feed off of that energy and rub things in our face and do psyops on us. And the internet and YouTube is used to do psyops on organic people now. So it's a shame. And that is one of the topics I have here, which is the menopausal women setting up young women how to avoid the set trap. So let me see what is other topics I have here. All right. So I guess I got the ugly topic out of the way. I just want to get it off my chest already. And I don't really have a title for this one, but I'm just going to read it off. So, everyone became essentially a neurological monitoring system to the public 24/7. It's a spiritual battle to keep your soul intact away from the nano, which came from the concept of black goo, residue from the chemtrails, tart from the chemicals that come from the chemtrails, a micronized metal that once it's inhaled to a degree, it becomes reactivated with frequencies that are coming from the cell towers. So it's kind of like, when you put an antenna connected to a TV, what is the main source that is connected that is making those two electronics function? Well, it would be that metal, that stick that's in between. So they have figured out how to essentially make us into antennas, little walking antennas, as long as we have accumulated as much metals as we are supposed to have in order to become that walking antenna. So there's a certain point where people accumulate so much metals, so much of these micronized metals, whether it's inhaled or eaten or other way, they become a neurological monitoring system. And the only thing that's missing now is the vaccine. So I don't really talk to anyone that doesn't get rid of these nanos, but at the same time, it's like you can't go around and tell people that. So I just kind of get an idea of what their diet is like, and then I know what I have to deal with. So, um, aside from that, okay, so there's another part right here. Protecting technological gadgets from negative frequencies. So, how can one protect how can one protect technological gadgets from negative frequencies? And does it matter? Well, it does because you're on your phone 24/7. You're holding it. Even when you're not using it, it's on your pocket, on your purse. So, this is a technological gadget that is almost like the chip, except it's not inside of you. You're just holding it. So, there's other technological gadgets that need to be protected by from negative frequencies. So, like the Bluetooth, that's another gadget. And the router, also in the water, one big formula. Yes, well, we're mostly water. And I think there's always ways to activate water. And you can activate it either to ground yourself or to activate it to fully heard, be heard in your prayers. That'll be another way. So I think taking advantage of water and activating it in different ways is a good source. Yeah, chips on debit cards. That's true. And then I've been seeing lately too is that they have these checkups to get checked for the beer cooties now at stores. It's like right next to the store. So eventually they're gonna probably ask if you got checked for the beer cooties before you enter the store. And there's been other times where I order something like coffee. Sometimes I don't make coffee. I'm not in time to make it and I go buy some. And they ask to put on the mask while I'm in my vehicle. So I also think it might get to the point where while you're driving in your car, you might have to wear the mask because you're driving in public and it becomes like a hazard for everyone. They can easily make that. So it's important to figure out a way to protect technological gadgets, even from when they're in your car, because the mask is going to become a technological gadget for them in itself because of the little metal in the inside, which is from the white masks, the ones that everyone really wears because they're so convenient. So, the one topic of protecting technological gadgets from negative frequencies is protecting new technologies from malfunctioning to do what? Energy pollution that comes from new 5G cell towers at a grand mass scale. There is more defects in advanced electron materials to their low dimensional structures of low hertz. So on this part, I think what I'm trying to say is that there's more defects in advanced electronic electronics right now. And because there's more defects in these advanced electronics, it gives off a low dimensional structure of low hertz. And because there's a low dimensional structure of low hertz, there's a lot of demonic portals open. And these demonic portals get closed with positive hertz and positive frequencies and prayer. Prayer is the most important. So the low dimensional, low hertz structure has been set in order for negative frequencies to come into our home, malfunction, blender, the laundry, washer, dryer, TV, heater, etc. All these things have expiration dates as well. So the heater, vehicles, they can disable the transmission and other outlets. Yeah, I see. I haven't gotten tested either, and I don't plan to as far. I'm planning to go grocery shopping as soon as I can for like a 2-3 months worth to avoid the whole uh, getting tested at the store because I could already see it happening. They're also, I noticed how they're doing like the testing in parks, like right next to parks. And it's awkward because these people will get tested and then they'll go to the park and then they start looking at others weird, like, I got tested, you didn't, why are you here? And it's like, it's ridiculous. Like, just because you got tested doesn't mean that you're better now. So, but yeah, I think once you get tested, they get your DNA, and I'm pretty sure they have everyone's DNA, but I'm hoping that when you detox and we take different elements that have to do with carbon that provide different oxygen levels and red blood cells after, it perhaps might change our DNA a little bit. And if we haven't gone to the doctor, then they might not have the rejuvenated DNA, and it might be a slightly off. So that's why they kind of need us to go get tested every time they do these frequency 5G cooties. So they can have the rejuvenated DNA, and then they can just send or attach frequencies to it. Uh, so yeah, I don't see the point in getting tested. And if there's any signs of anything, it's like I think the immediate key is to give a rush of oxygen levels and then flourish it with extracted oils and get straight to the point. Nothing with mixing it with water, nothing like that. Just straight oils and providing a lot of oxygen because the 60 hertz is eliminating the oxygen in the air. But on the topic of protecting technological gadgets from negative frequencies, how can we do so? They plant a little nanoparticle in your nose that expands in your digestive tract when they test. Yes, and breathing ozone. Yes, I've been trying to replicate the oxygen extract that comes from moss, and I'm still trying to figure out if you can get the extraction either from when it's in water or actually extracting the oil out, and you have to buy like a machine for that. So I'm still debating on which one, but for now I've just been putting it on water. But there's so many ways of receiving oxygen. Also, if you put alkaline water in the blender and then just blend it, and then you inhale the breeze, that's also a different purified oxygen, and it's micronized, so your bloodstream absorbs it faster. So protecting technological gadgets from negative frequencies, we would have to make a paste, and this paste will consist obviously of RDF paint or lead paint. And I noticed that we can use either charcoal or shungite or graphene, any of those, and you mix it up with oil because oil is conductive. Any oil that you can use for a car transmission, and then just add these elements and it'll block the frequencies. And I've tried it and it works. You can turn it into a painty paste or into a spray bottle and spray it on the radiator fan in the blender, spray in the transmission. So that's one thing. And I'm still testing out going live. Mm, let's see. I have another topic here, but I can't see where I wrote the title. Okay, so I think right here what I was speaking about is how can you know that you have proceeded into a new shift, which I think the new shift consists of a gamma ray burst, like kind of like a lightning that goes on for days. That's why we're in December and it's still hot during the day here in California. And I think one of the ways to know that you have proceeded into that shift, I have wrote down a couple of major key points that I have noticed in myself, and I wrote them down. So you will be able to see information in the field. How? In a pulsating nature, like if it's pulsating. And how I've been able to see this is, well, you, I've noticed certain trees where they glow back at me. And if I stare at them for a while, I can see the aura around the tree and it's pulsating at a certain rate, and if I stare at it long enough, my heart will pulsate at that same rate. So that's something that I've noticed, that you kind of synchronize with whatever is happening in nature. And it's not something that you have to force yourself to do it, it just happens naturally. So, signs one has passed the shift: sleeping way early without a warning. And I think the reason for this is light codes repelled broken cells, giving an immense zinc and oxygen levels. Therefore, there's an immense blood flow, and it repels broken cells. So you fall asleep immediately. Thing that I've been feeling a lot. I sleep super early without a warning, and sometimes I don't really do much throughout the day. And I know I'm healthy because it's not like I'm losing weight and my hair's growing super fast. And it's kind of like uh, I feel a rush of oxygen and zinc levels as soon as I wake up, and an immense blood flow. So the light codes that are coming from the gamma ray burst repel the broken cells, giving an immense zinc and oxygen. Therefore, an immense blood flow repels broken cells while you fall asleep. So, if you're able to do this, you'll be able to absorb the pulsating nature at the same time. And sometimes your heart will synchronize at the same pulsating nature that you see. It could be on a tree, it could be something simple as an ant. And another sign is you catch yourself breathing from your nose often and pulsating with the trees. So I've said this, but I think when you catch yourself breathing from your nose is a good thing, because you will mostly catch yourself breathing in from your mouth. And that's how mostly everyone, I think, breathes right now. I've noticed people breathing in from their mouth a lot more. It's like they forgot how to breathe. So that's on top of the riots that were going on. And one of the phrases that was being said was not being able to breathe. I don't want to say it, but that phrase was programming the AI. I'm not sure if it was programming it to remove oxygen levels or to actually help, because people were saying they couldn't breathe. So when something's being said very repetitive, I believe it's to train the AI. So, like I said, human beings are organic, so our energy is harvested for political reasons, and they use technological weapons to harvest. So, like I said, the light codes repel broken cells, giving an immense zinc oxygen. Therefore, an immense blood flow repels broken cells while one falls asleep. And I had caught myself falling asleep very quick, and I have also caught myself breathing in from my nose a lot of times. And I think it happened because of the very good sleep, that it reminded me that I have to breathe in from my nose. Yes, because it's a natural. Exactly, breathing in from your nose is natural. The way we are meant to breathe. Yes. Okay. So another sign is you constantly answer your own questions and can respond to your own questions most of the time. Um, I notice having myself a question, and it'll take me reading or some sort of information to kind of know. And lately, it's like you answer your own questions. I think that comes with the synchronization of pulsating with nature. And another point will be being able to hear engines, motors, traffic, from far away and recognizing new patterns in those sounds. So that's another thing that I got very sensitive with the sounds of engines and motors and traffic. It's like I saw or I heard rhythms of so much from hearing them. And I know there's some sort of pollution in cities with these things, and that's just a fact. But the fact that I would notice certain patterns, and then I could notice when there's a car missing because I didn't hear that pattern that morning, and I can tell which car was missing because of the engine, things like that. So that's another thing that I think happens with passing with the shift, because if somebody's feeling it, I can't be the only one. There has to be many more. And so, yeah, that's another way is to hear engines, motors, and traffic from far away and recognizing patterns that change in society. Uh, and another one, which is lastly, being able to tell them apart, seeing the demonic embodiments as well as seeing the informational field. So there's a informational field that's coming from the biometrics of everyone's thought. And you see the informational field that's coming from everyone else, and all you can do is kind of neutralize it with your thoughts, because you see it being done, but there's not much you can do about it because of all the other um, cells that got repelled, so you don't feel what they feel. And all you can do is synchronize and neutralize the bad energy, and then you repel it, and then you throw it back out there with what's pulsating in nature, what you were able to receive from that pulsating nature, but they weren't. So it's one way of dealing with society, I guess, without giving out your energy, because these people are coming from low vibrational fields, so there's not much you can do. But sometimes I do hope that they would know about the oxygen levels and realize that they're acting out of their nanoparticles and not themselves. But I also have to understand that not everybody is meant to receive that message. But this is my attempt of trying without making a video and going live. Well, whenever somebody tells me they see black shadow beings and what are they, I think it just comes from your subconscious and that you have to detox. I'm not I'm not saying that these things aren't there. I'm saying that there's a imbalance going on within you that you're able to see these things. And unless you're not praying and armored up, then there's no point in you seeing them if you're not going to be binding and putting them to rest. So I would say detox. Um, I used to see things like that, and then you just find a way to, like I said, you neutralize it and you find a way to put it back out there in a positive way. And this goes back to protecting the gadgets, because when you don't protect the gadgets, these shadow beings take advantage, and it's almost like they're portals. So, uh, well, I'm sure many people relate these things to drugs, but there's, I think there's people that have been able to open parts of their brain that allows them to see different parts of dimensions. And it's unfortunate that people do drugs and do alcohol and things like that to be able to have those experiences. But some people are naturally gifted with those things, and you can't really come up with those things unless you're naturally born with it. And I think people associate those things with drugs and things like that because of movies. So it's pretty easy to just call it it has to do with drugs or alcohol. That's like the trend. Yeah. I'm mostly saying that there's synthetic beings that are easily hijacked by the nanoparticles, whereas there's people that are organic and they fight to keep their soul. So it has nothing to do with drugs. The people that did drugs and did alcohol, they're already selling their soul little by little. So it just depends how you want to look at it. It's like a gateway, but then it's also a way for the nanoparticles to come in. You know, you can be eating fast food and not be an alcoholic, but you can eat fast food every day, and that still makes you a problem because you're full of nanoparticles, and I still have to deal with you. You see what I mean? And if people really wanted to change, they would start with themselves, right? But those are some of the topics. Well, I got several pages of writings, but that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about today. I think the soul can overpower most substances. It depends on the will of the individual. Yes, of course. And even the smallest things, like many would think substances as things that people get high with, but it can be also physical things that have demonic embodiments, like name brands and symbols that are on clothes or curtains. All these are also gateways, and people might not take it so serious, but even the price and the numbers that are set on those prices are gateways, and it's like a little mini ritual that's being exchanged for your energy depending on the holiday. So it just depends how serious you want to take it and whatever bad things you're battling with, how bad you're willing to change it, I guess. But I just try to find some ways to facilitate. And these are the ways that I thought of is protecting technological gadgets so you don't get recommendations of these transgenders that are trying to trick you into something to feel that you're not supposed to be feeling that way in the first place because you're full of nanoparticles anyways. So it's like everything's together to go against the organic thought, and it's really, really deep rooted inside of you. You have to really fight to keep it. And right now, it's like they're getting rid of a lot of things to stress people out to the point where they sell out faster. And that's why I thought of that people became neurological monitors 24/7, and that's just the general public. Some of them don't even realize it. A lot of times, people don't even realize that they're neurological monitors because they accumulated so much nanoparticles. So, yeah, there's so many videos being done about me. I thought these people were gonna come here and say something, but I'm glad they didn't because I was able to explain all this. But I'm glad for anyone that showed up, and hopefully I get a little better at this. I had a frequency playing in the background, and I feel really safe when there's a frequency playing because it neutralizes everything. And even the little nanoparticles that are infested and everyone else. And now that it's stopped, it's like I don't feel safe being here anymore. So I'm gonna say bye for now, and I don't know if I'll leave this live up. I'll think about it. And happy holidays. Bye. I'll see you guys around.